Alright, so, the back. Whew, it's like somebody just stabs you. Meanwhile, I just called GoDaddy, and I was talking to them about it, and they said, is it the only computer that you have this problem with, meaning that video? And I says, well, let me check. So I checked the other computers, and this is the only computer that has that problem. So they said you probably downloaded some type of a malware without realizing it. Well, the only thing that this one had downloaded versus the others is that they all downloaded the new Windows update, except for that one, because that has an older version of Windows in it. And they all seem to be working okay. They're a little slow. I don't know if it's just YouTube that's slow, because YouTube is always screwing things up. They got to screw things, changing things for the best, for their best, But at that point, it was always a little slow. Now at this one, the only thing that I downloaded on this one was a radio program for designing, sorry guys, antennas. And it was a 30-day demo. And when you, what it actually did was you can design the antenna that you think you want, or make something that you feel is going to work, and you want to see how it's going to work. You go to this website, you put in the numbers and everything, or you go to that program, you put in all your numbers, and it'll give you an idea as to how that antenna is going to perform. So that's kind of how that works. So I just took that out of there, and I'm going to run malware. Now I'll tell you, I've always used Malwarebytes, and I use another one. I use Hitman Pro, and there was another one called Force, but it's now, I can't see it with my my funny eyes here. But anyway, there it is right there. I think I told you I got one eye that's kind of acting up. I can see perfect with it, except that everything is crooked. So at that point, I'm going to run malware. I'll run some of these, and then if not, I'm going to have to start checking some of the programs. Seeing that that's the only program that I actually downloaded since then, that makes sense that that's it. Now, does it leave any residue? I don't know. I used Revo on install. I've always used that, and that seems to have worked in the past for anything. It takes away, it even goes into the registry and takes away any residues that's left over in there. A lot of programs, when you want to install them, they still leave crap in your registry file. So, you're stuck with it there. Where Revo, so far, has always taken out all that crap. So anyway, it's a nice looking day. However, it's a cold, windy day. So it's deceiving. So that's where we're at there. I'm hoping that one tree makes it. I really do. I got it pretty well tied up and stabilized. The root system didn't seem to come out of the ground enough to where it bothered it. I think I got the root system back in the ground enough and covered it. So it was one of those things to where if I started digging any more, I probably would have made it worse instead of better. So we're going to see if it takes root. Meanwhile, I got a lot of things I got to do today, believe it or not. What I wanted to do was get these saws sharpened, and especially this one, because it's cutting crooked, which means that these teeth are not right. They're not even. So I want to get that done. I turned on the computer to get a few things done real quick with that to find out I've got a problem. Ding, bing, bing. Okay, so that takes care of that. So I got something to do there. The biggest problem being is, well, the issue at this point, and I think I'm just going to work on it. Duff. Those new tools that I ordered are coming in today. The new bench tools, those mini tools. And this is the bench that, yeah, this is the bench that I'm going to try to get it on. Let's turn on some light. This is the bench that I'm going to try to get the clean. So that's where I'm at. So this ought to be a fun morning. Now on this, Plumb Bob had sent me a pretty descriptive plan of attack. Now these things, I don't know if you can see them or not, to be honest with you, but they look like little pills. Okay, I've replaced those in here. Now I didn't. Oh, excuse me, guys. Oh, wow. I didn't, when I replaced them, wherever the hell they are. Oh, there they are. I didn't fasten them back up where they were. I just let them hang. I don't know if they really have to be grounded out or not, you know, with those tabs. If so, I can just run a jumper real quick to see if that's part of the case. The filter I've cleaned naturally. Now here's another problem, I think. I don't know. See, I don't know enough about gas furnaces, to be honest with you. Either they work or they don't work. I can know if it's getting gas. But basically, let me put one screw back in this just to hold it. That's like a 3/8 line or whatever. It's a small line. Because originally I was thinking gas line's under pressure, so it should have enough coming into it. I mean, that's what I would think. But then I was thinking, well, wait a minute. It's got pressure, but it's not a lot. What is it, maybe 4 or 5 pounds? I mean, I really don't know. I'm guesstimating at this point. So, is that line actually big enough? Now that line, I have to change this. This is something I have to change, to be honest with you. I'm surprised I hadn't done it already. I have it now. I got to get it. I was waiting for a warmer day, but for now I'll probably just cover it. Here's the black pipe coming up. Now, there's a shutoff here. There's also a shutoff. There's 2 more shutoffs in the house, actually. But here's that line. Now, there's 2 of these put together, so those are like 12 feet or so between the 2 of them. But that line may be too thin. I don't know. I mean, it may not be, you know, feeding what it needs. So what I want to do anyway is I'm going to extend this pipe and get it inside, because I don't like this line outside. I ran out of pipe when I was doing it. I had that, so I said, you know what, let me just get it down there to get it hooked up. It was the first winter, it was coming in, I wanted to get it done. I was freezing my ass off, so I just did it. And then I just ignored it after that. Now that is not safe in my opinion. If I let it be, which I'm probably not going to let it be, I want to get it fixed, I would just cover it. But the main thing at this point is I think it's too small. Now, it's a possibility. Again, I don't know. So by putting the 5/8 line, Tuck. By putting the 5/8 line on there, will allow more to the system, I'm thinking. Now again, this is just reasoning things out. I don't know exactly how it works. Now, I'm going to bring that pipe into the system here, so that the pipe coming in to the house or the shack or the shop, whatever you want to call it, and down to there is going to be, you know, the black pipe, gas pipe. And then I will tie this on up to here. So that's what I'm thinking. Now that might help. The other problem, so there's a lot of little issues here that I don't know. We've got a gas furnace in the house. We've got a gas stove in the house. We've got a gas dryer in the house. Do I have enough gas in the house coming in? You know, I mean, you don't know. So these are things, you know, Bob, I'm going to bug you for a minute. Now, you started it. But at that point, can I be getting enough gas to feed this thing? And is that why it shuts down? Then if it does, though, why doesn't it start back up? When I turn it on, it starts clicking, like it's sparking. It's looking to ignite a fuel, but it's like it's not getting it. The fan, you mentioned the fan. The fan works when it's running. Sometimes the fan will kick on before, and sometimes it'll turn off after, because naturally it wants to circulate and cool things down. But even in the summertime, with this thing shut down completely, the fan will kick on for no reason. And that's what the thing shut down completely. You know, I mean, I don't kill the power on it, but, you know, at one time I even took the thermostat off it, and the fan still runs. It'll kick on, it'll run for 4 or 5 minutes, and then it stops. You know, and we're talking, you know, 100-degree weather at this point. So, again, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of variables here, unfortunately, and I didn't get into all those when I was talking about it. But that's where we're at. So, having a gas furnace, a gas stove, and a gas dryer. Now, not all of them are running at the same time. You know, the furnace kicks on and off naturally, so that runs whenever it calls for heat. The dryer doesn't run unless we want to use it. All right, and the stove is not running. So at this point, right now, the only thing that's in there that may be running is the main furnace. Everything else is here. All right, and right now I got the wood burner going. I got the thermostat set at 74, 75, and it's 67, 68 in here. Now I do have this going, and the reason why I do have that here with this here is because once this gets this room up to temp, it would automatically heat this up and shut that down. So I don't have to worry about that thing running. And when this cools down, this thing kicks back on again. And that kind of just tells me to come throw more wood on the fire. But again, it's not working. And the thing is, I have to find it and I have to get it fixed because I have to trust it. I don't want this place here to drop below 50 degrees, 48 even, okay? You know, but 45 at the lowest, because there's things in here that can't get down below that. And I have to be able to trust this at night, because I'm not out here at night feeding the fire. So, and I wouldn't want a fire running all night anyway with me not out here. So that's where I'm at with that. So, if you, Bob, I'm going to bug you for just a minute. I'm not going to make a point of it, but I'm just going to ask you, do you think that gas line size has anything to do with it? Do you think by having the house all gas, even though it's not running right now except for the furnace in there, if that has anything to do with it? Or are we just back to troubleshooting this thing? So, like I said, that line I have to change anyway, at least the pipe. I want to get black pipe into the building. Now, do I run the 5/8 or should I run that 3/8? I think it's 3/8. I don't know what it is. Will that make a difference? The other thing is, let me give you an idea of what we got here. Because this is the last man on the totem pole when it comes to the heat. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's draw you a picture. The gas meter. Oh, gas meter comes into the house. Here's the house furnace. The stove is about here. We're looking down down from the top down. All right. So here's the meter. Here's the furnace. Here's the stove. The dryer's over here. This is like a laundry room on the back porch. And then over here, out here, which is about 30, 35 feet from here. This is the furnace out here in the shop. The line comes in, goes over to here, goes to here. I added it to here because this used to be downstairs. I didn't want the wife to go downstairs. So basically the meter comes in here, the furnace ties off of that. This comes up in here, the stove ties off of that. This goes up to here through a shut-off, and there's also a shut-off here, and then the main shut-off. But meanwhile, this comes out to the laundry room, ties into this. There's a shut-off here, and it continues out to the shop. So basically, to make it simple, meter and all the other units, this line is just basically feeding all the way with offsprings. But I wouldn't think that you would run a separate line for each one. Alright, nor would I run a line to here, which is the furnace, and, you know, again, put a T, for instance, and come off with each one from there. I don't think that would be. I think the way this is okay. I personally wouldn't see any other way of doing it that would make sense. Now, this is the last man on the totem pole, which is the shop. But again, this isn't running all day, which is the dryer. Stove is naturally not running all day. The furnace kicks on and off all day, but right now that's down to like 67. You know, and the doors are closed, so it doesn't kick on, you know, all the time. It may kick on 2 or 3 times through the course of the day. But is any of that an issue? Or is it just maybe this main line that I got going here, that 3/8? I think it's 3/8. And by changing it to a 5/8, would that help? And it being out on the back porch like that, being cold, does the cold air bother it? I don't think so. All right, but again, I'm not into the system. So, other than that, I am going to start doing all the other troubleshooting that you sent, and that was all really helpful, and I appreciate that. But the other thing is, I don't want to start jumping into that unless I know for sure, you know, that we're kind of there. I want to get that line changed, if you think it's worth me changing. The main line coming in, that little 3/4 or 3/8 or whatever it is. Yeah, 3/8, it ain't 3/4. 3/8 line, and the black pipe, should I bring that black pipe right into the building? Or is it okay like that for the rest of the winter? If I just make it all 5/8, you know, from that pipe in, which would be about 10 feet, which is not code, I'm sure, but do you think any of this place is code? However, though, code with gas could be a serious issue. But at that point, that's where I'm at. So if you have any ideas, let me know.